Manisha Lad, welcome to Autism Spa. It's a real pleasure to have you here. You're the founder of Akhil Autism Foundation. Tell us a little bit about what inspired you to do this. How did you end up being the head of this foundation, and what is the foundation about, really?
So first of all, thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity to coming on your show, and thank you for doing what you're doing for the autism community. So, a Akhil Autism Foundation. The word Akhil means complete, but Akhil also is an inspiration. He's our only son who is 20 years old now, and he has autism, and he's an inspiration behind Akhil Autism Foundation. So like me and my husband, like we came to US almost 22 years back with IT field background, a lot of aspiration, a lot of dreams, and who knows, universe has different plans for you. So while we were busy working in this IT field, when we got the news of Akil in my pregnancy, after that I decided to take a break to enjoy the motherhood, and everything was going well. He came in our life in 2001 as a healthy baby, and around 8 months or something, I was suspicious that something is not right about him. And I was at home because I wanted to enjoy that motherhood. So, and around 18 months, I said, now let me go back to work, and I'm done, and he should go to the daycare. But during that time, after his first birthday, right in front of our eyes, he went into a rapid regression. He lost his eye contact. He stopped responding to his name. He had no gestures, a lot of head banging, a lot of temple tantrums. And I kept on telling that something is not wrong, not correct about my child. Something is not. And they kept on telling, no, you're the mother who want him to walk fast, talk fast, boys talk late. And then finally, at 18 months, we got a diagnosis of autism.
That story, as you may think, is very common, right?
Mhm.
That's exactly how my wife would describe it. And since women are more attentive to these things than men are anyway, my wife was the one that noticed exactly as you did. There's something, something's not right. I think it took us maybe by his first birthday, around the
Mm.
same time, and there was a noticeable regression. We used to be able
Mm.
to read to him, and he was perfectly normal up until about 15 or 18 months, and you begin to notice the regression. So, what kind of what was your how did you feel afterwards? I mean, what was your first reaction?
First, it was very denial. Like I was
Right,
in a denial stage, but like very quickly in 15 days, just in 15 days, we accepted his autism, and we said, you know what, he's come to our life for a reason.
mm, good for
maybe
you.
maybe we have to give something back to the community. So we
Right,
took that thought and kept aside because we knew there was a lot of work to do. So we actually went into denial, then little bit of anger, bargaining, guilt, but we did not go into depression.
right. Good for you. Good for you.
We
That's
rapidly went into actions because
right.
if the only thing I was searching is was internet. On internet, I was on Google. Like you read about autism and it's all sad story,
Right.
devastating. But on the other hand, there were one or two examples which were inspirational, which was like recovery. And I told my husband, look, if they could do it, why can't we do it?
Right. Right.
With that, we accepted his autism, and I never looked back into my IT career. I gave it up
Right. You
because
know,
we were told that forget about recovery,
wow.
forget about he sitting with typical children,
Yeah.
and forget about he going, living an independent life. And I
Right.
just told the doctors, like, you know what, you're just a doctor, sorry, you don't know everything,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know
And doctors don't know your kid like you do, right? I mean, they can
correct.
diagnose a cold, a headache, whatever. But this is one thing it seems like you accelerated, and maybe you approached it the same way you approach your IT work. You very scientifically and methodically just kind of jammed that out. Who's got time for grief? Let's just get into action and fix the problem. That's what scientists and people of technology-minded people do. They just, here's the problem, here's how we're going to solve it, and that's how it sounds like you approached it.
Yeah, like I'm like very executionary. Like if I
Right.
say something, I have to do it. I'm like very intuitive because like I just go back to my roots, the way we
Right.
were brought up, how to fight any
Right.
situation in life. So
Right.
parents brought up, and my mother always used to tell me only one thing, like, look, whenever you feel that you're lost in life, just sit with yourself and go to your inner voice and
Right.
see what it's trying to tell you. And my inner voice back then, my visualizations back then and now also for Akhil, they are like very very same, and they do happen. So I'm very adamant when it comes to my inner voice, for when it comes to Akhil, and also for my other foundation and other thing. Only thing is
Right.
I'm too hard on myself.
Yes, well, that again is something parents do. They feel like, I mean, you gave up your career. Many people struggle with juggling.
Yes,
Obviously, not only a child, but a special needs child,
yes,
and one spouse ends up giving up a career.
yes,
Families end up moving to school
yes,
districts or different things, right?
correct,
We all done it.
correct,
We've all done it.
correct,
And
correct.
there's just, I think your approach and kind of looking at it pragmatically and professionally is saves a lot of brain cells. Let me tell you. I mean, because you go through a lot to go through those 7 stages of grief, denial, anger, bargaining, all that stuff, and just moving into action. So you jumped into action for your son's benefit, and probably saved yourself, and if I may say, your family life, a lot of grief that was unnecessary. I think a lot of families go take themselves through a lot of devastation and
Correct,
depression,
correct.
but you bypassed all of that and just focused on positiveness, which is amazing, right? If you do nothing else, that was an amazing thing you did. But how did you take that positive energy and apply it towards a foundation?
So, one thing we knew that, again, going back to the philosophy, the way you're brought up, they say like for autism back then until now, it was diagnosed on single piece of paper,
Right,
not many treatments, just
right,
behavior, FDA, few behavior approach, like FDA approved, and few medications,
right,
which means like now the glass is empty for
right,
us. Okay,
right,
half empty, or like 1/4 of it when it
right,
comes to mainstream. So now you see that I just have only this much, or should I get a lot of things and try to fill that glass?
right,
And that's how we started. The first thing we started is accepting his autism the way
right,
he is. Take the autism label, keep it aside.
right,
Now what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to educate ourselves. Okay, what is out there? These are the resources. So we exactly, they told us you need to go to behavior therapy, you need 40 hours of ABA. Another inspiration was for me to let me hear your voice, Catherine Morris, both
right,
of her daughters. And I said, you know what, look, this is a second example. If they can recover two of her daughters, why can't
right,
we do?
right,
And we listened to everything what they said. And he started with early intervention. They said 40 hours. We got the 40 hours. We fought with the state. We got 20 hours per week. We simply supplemented 10 hours extra, and I was doing so as per the research, as per the paper. Yes, he was getting 40 hours of ABA therapy with good team of people, with good education. We exactly knew, before even team could come to our house, we knew what programs we needed for Akhil, to which skills to teach.
right.
And after age of 3 he started going to school, and he just completely, the whole skills collapsed,
Wow. Yeah.
because the whole behavior approach, though it got him eye contact better, his attention little better, his verbal imitations, but he never got the concept of expressing it through the body. We
Right.
started with the sign language. He
Right.
never got it, it never clicked to him.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so what he had done, what we learned, that as soon as he went to school, they brought him down to back to square one,
Yeah.
saying he just knows high level stuff and he doesn't know these basic skills.
Right.
So we
Right.
were back to square one.
Yeah.
And then where we changed our view from autism from behavior perspective to
Right.
medical perspective.
I see. But before, on the school, was it a public school or a private school?
Private school.
Private school. So public school. So you went through what most parents go through. At some point, there's a realization they can't handle him. They don't know how
No,
to. They don't do.
we no, that's we were being very we were very proactive. So
Right.
when we sign, and that's what many parents do, the first
Right.
thing that they sign the IEP.
Right.
When we signed our first IEP, from child study team, from early intervention to the first IEP, we got a lawyer. That is the first
Ah,
investment we did, because we
smart.
knew, now if you sign that IEP and then you back off, then it's going to be a huge package. So they
Right.
told us, before you sign your first IEP, you take us in. So
Right.
we knew, and that time I think our township didn't had that great program.
Right.
So we were given, so we started looking for the whole year, we started looking through all the private schools.
Right.
So since then till now, we already always change his schools, and this is the fifth school, and still private school. We have never
Right.
sent him to public school,
Right.
because I understand the different limitations. They have to fight for even many resources, even for an iPad. They really have to put up a fight together.
Sure, sure. No, that's an important, again, advancement that you made on your own or with the consolation of others. That IEP, the legal document that it is, most parents, again, they're dealing with loss, with
Yes,
depression, with anxiety, with fear.
yes, yes,
There's an overwhelming sense of, I don't
yes,
know what I'm doing, I don't know where I'm
yes.
going. So somebody
I'm
puts something in
unsure
front of you,
about it.
you just sign it. You just want to get, and frankly, my wife and I, our first IEP, and the first few was incredibly depressing
Yeah,
because they just go down all the things your son can't do. You know, it's just like it's a never-ending list, like 20
never
pages of all
ending
the things
list.
that, right? We
I know.
didn't do this with prompting. He did this with prompting. He did, how many prompts does he need? It's a human being, it's not like a machine. So that was very tough. It was very tough just to get used to all those people sitting around the table.
And
Uh,
failing your child
yeah,
constantly
and they're
again.
nice enough. The
Yes,
individuals, they're nice enough. They're in special education, so right there, that's a special kind of person to be in special education. But the institution and the bureaucracy that your son or your child is thrown into, which is
yes,
what we call IEP, the individual educational program, is not good, and that it's not conducive to they say it's custom made, but it's really not custom made. It's custom made within the confines of ABA, but it's not. And it's really, somebody told me, another interview or told me, it's really based on all of the things your son or your child can't do. It's not based on all of the things he can do. Kind of focusing on his abilities rather than disabilities. And I know most people may not understand that distinction, but um, almost everybody outside that room has a different perspective of, here's what we can do to help your kid. And it's got, ABA may be a supplement, ABA is not the cure, and that's
yeah.
what
See,
people are
I
doing.
understand the schools come from their boundary. They need to go. They need to go by the books,
Right?
and but one thing is, like any approach you take, like they are the content expert. My argument with everybody would be that you are a content expert, whether ABA, whether a
Yeah.
DIR, whether Sunrise. I am expert of my child.
Right. Right.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I'll give an example of Temple
Yeah.
Grandin. If you
Right.
read her book, she would say that, I would say Temple Grandin was formed because of her mother.
Yeah.
The school didn't knew back then, didn't have so much of autism. The school
Right.
didn't knew how to handle this girl. So
Yeah.
mother was allowed to go inside, and mother was allowed to tell what to do, what not. When I did that, tried doing that with the first private school, they had a meeting with my BCBA saying, why is this mother telling us what to do?
Yeah. Good for you. Good for you. I mean, I think now I'm beginning to see why you started kind of the foundation, because I think your life journey, and as you said, the reason your son was born into the universe was a purpose. And
Yeah.
you are his voice and his purpose. You're giving him that, or his life, that direction, and you're helping others.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'll tell you one more experience,
sure.
what made me so, like, well, when he started early intervention, it was so hard to even
Yeah.
to it took 4 months for us to get services from the
Yeah.
government, right?
Yeah.
So during those 4 months, we hired a BCBA. We
Yeah.
hired our team of people, two team of people plus me and my husband, and we started the program.
Yeah.
Now, when the therapist came, it was even hard to get the therapist. When a therapist came and she got 10 hours per week, one day she walked in and we had one of our BCBAs told her something. It was a
Yeah.
second session and she came late or something.
Yeah.
And she told her something that you are late or something, and she got offended.
Yeah.
With and second, she didn't like the advices coming from an outside BCBA.
Right.
Guess what? She quit. She said,
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to this family.
Yeah.
So I said, my child's life is
Yeah.
going to be dependent on a therapist.
Right.
What
Right.
am I supposed to do? I was
Yeah.
like literally sitting in the corner and crying, and it was
Right.
evening, and my husband just came in and
Yeah.
he said, why are you crying? What happened?
Yeah.
Because he never seen me crying like this.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
just holding my hands and picked up, and I said, come on, like we're going to sort it out, and you are not this personality. You took me for a good dinner, and just next day onwards, I said,
Yeah.
whether therapist come or
Yeah.
doesn't come, I have to know, I have to learn everything. So, first thing what we did in our life until now, educate yourself.
Right.
Talk the same language, what they are talking.
Right. Right. And
That
that's
was,
that has happened to us too.
see,
A therapist, something happened. I don't know what happened. Maybe, I don't know, talk to my mother-in-law or my mom, or somebody said something in the house that offended the therapist, and she quit. And then another time, another ABA service quit us as a family because they just couldn't produce, I think, enough seasoned therapists to really
mm,
help our severely autistic child. I mean, they hired these young ladies, they come and go, they maybe, they're trying to get their credentials, so they got to do certain hours of service, and then they're gone. So the other problem, reason we quit ABA at home, was that every time my son would get used to somebody, they'd be gone. Even if they were really
right,
good,
yeah,
they would grow out of that job, that $10, $12 an hour job,
correct,
into the
correct,
next career.
correct,
So it's not like that person could have stayed with my son for 10 years. It's 6 months tops, and they're gone. So
yeah.
I could see why you would.
So
I
till the
mean,
time, like because of the other parents, they told us to change the paradigm from
right,
behavior therapy to medical disorder,
right,
and then we jumped into the ocean of the entire biomedical ocean. That time we had Defeat Autism Now, Autism Research Institute, like a Dan protocol,
yeah,
Dan doctors, and we started our complete journey, controversial journey. It's not FDA approved, and nothing was FDA approved. Actually,
yeah,
has helped our child, our
right,
Akhil. They
yeah,
told not to put on the diet. We put him on a diet. They told not to give him dietary supplements, not to give him melatonin. We
yeah,
did that, and everything they told us not to do, we went
yeah.
ahead and did it. And his behavior started getting better and better and better. Till
Wow,
10 years of his life, his behaviors got so much better. His eye contact, his verbal imitations, receptive language,
yeah,
everything. And by the time we had already started a foundation, we said, I want to give back to the community. I had to become a nutritionist, I become a holistic coach, but I said, I don't want to. I wanted to either pursue a physician assistant or a registered dietitian. I said, if I do, I'm still going to have limitations. I want to help the masses because I want to express my ID professional skills, at a full potential, what I can do. And that's the reason me and my husband started non-profit organization with a focus for India.
mm, mm,
First focus was India, and now we are helping in US as well as in
mm,
India.
mhm.
So, and for India, we like touched more than 2 to 3,000 families already by
Mm.
bringing in the resources.
Right.
And then around 10 years of age, the ABA completely, the ABA school, he went to the best ABA school. The school which would charge $100,000
Wow.
tuition fee
That's
plus
more.
20
I think that's more than Harvard.
plus $20,000 is for the transportation. They're
Wow.
surrounded by the board certified BCBAs, the best school of the New Jersey,
Wow.
where you have a waiting list. And what, till 10 years of age, they told us he doesn't know his letters, he doesn't know his numbers, he doesn't know his colors.
Yeah.
And they stopped all his academic programs
Right.
and they started teaching him daily living skills, and they miserably failed.
Hmm.
They failed.
Mm.
So we pulled him out of that school, and I said, let's look into, with not great, not much of a great hope. We put him into a DIR floor time approach. Again, that this time I did not, go and learned everything about DIR, because when he went to the school, they introduced him typing
Right.
through
Oh,
supported typing. He being completely nonverbal, and guess what? He typed 4 lines with little bit of support. All
oh,
his expressive. So they
interesting.
called me. They said this program is going to be benefited for Akhil. I said, but he doesn't know his letters. They said, yeah, he knows, but he doesn't know his numbers. Yes, he knows. Why don't you come and check it out?
Huh?
So I went, and they showed me how he's typing. And I said, okay, fine. I was still unsure. I started talking to, because they had 40 kids in their school which were typing. And I started talking to few parents. I didn't get that um motivation from them, like, yeah, my child is typing, is nonverbal and expressing. So I was unsure, but I don't know what happened from September, October, November, December. During December, that time, me and Akhil, we just clicked through typing. And he started expressing. And school also brought in a concept of mind and body disconnect and reflexes.
Hmm.
And the moment we were telling about mind and body, and he was learning maths concepts, +1 +2 multiplication. We have never exposed that to Akhil at the age of 11 doing grade 1 stuff.
Hmm.
And with typing, with little bit of support, he expressed to me that I cannot see my body in my mind.
Wow. Wow.
That just blown me away.
Wow. That is a very profound expression. I mean, I think, even as parents, we could be in a state of mind that as much as we know our kids are in there, we sometimes don't think that they're capable of abstract thought or complex thinking. But it sounds like he's aware of his
Yes.
body and
So
space and where he is. Wow, that's
so
amazing.
we were, I was very curious mother. My only thing was like, why Akhil, like, what is number 5? And he would say number 5. He would type the answer with me little bit of support and say that number 5 is to give 5 things. So I said, okay, here are 10 almonds, give me 5. So because school was still teaching him, give me 5
Yeah, yeah.
objects, and he cannot give 5 at the age of 12. So, and that's what they've been teaching him for so many years. And he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I said, why are you not stopping? He says, my brain doesn't give me instructions when to stop
He said, wait, he typed all
typing.
that? Oh, that in those words, my brain doesn't give me instructions. Wow. Oh my God. My son is nonverbal. He's 13. But you said something that caught well, everything you said is catching my attention. But you said, we did this and they failed. How do you know when a new therapy, how much time do you give them to succeed?
So this is very interesting. And I tell many parents that whenever we did any kind of treatment with Akhil, we never, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Hi.
Akhil, you want to say hi?
Hi.
Yeah, I had locked the room. He brought a fork and he opened.
Ah, he's too smart for you.
He
He
is.
is too smart. That's okay. That's okay.
So um so yeah, so we never did anything with that, with an expectation that now we are going to see this. So whatever we saw, we would relish that. And we would give a time till the time that now this is not working anymore. So ABA, like, we knew that we are done, like we
Right.
given enough time and it is not working.
Right.
I'm
You know what, Manisha? I always tell people, my son has walk-in rights to any meeting I'm in. So, I try to lock the door, but sometimes he just wants to come and sit in his dad's office and, put his feet on my desk. and watch his baby Einstein or whatever. So nowadays that is normal. Oh, you're muted now. You're muted. Yeah, there we
Yeah,
go.
and it is his story, so
Yeah,
that's how he is. So he
yeah, yeah.
went out. Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, so he was expressing, so answer to your question, like, again, following your instinct, but making
Right,
sure you do something. I would say we would do till now also. Whenever I do anything new with him, I don't have any expectation that I'm going to see this.
right,
Whatever
right,
I see, even a better eye contact, better articulation, better functioning day, even for that time, it's an improvement for me.
right, right,
So
right.
that makes me going, okay, I saw this. As I told you, the glass either it's empty
Yeah,
or you are seeing it, okay, it's going up now.
right. Wow, this is amazing. I'm learning so much. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect. I thought, oh, okay, there's a foundation, and a parent started a foundation, but the energy and the wisdom and the resilience that you have demonstrated, I think, is an inspiration to other parents, certainly to me, in trying to be, I think, a better champion or a better voice for our kids to help them deal with the bureaucracy and the institutions and the naysayers and the glasses half full. I mean, I've had one of the people that diagnosed him early on, one of the worst days of my life. I think he was 3 years old. And in California, I don't know how it is in New Jersey, but that's the year you have to get official diagnosis from the regional center here to get services, right?
Hmm.
So the psychologist,
Ah,
the psychologist came and they gave him all kinds of tests, which of course he failed in, and she basically something told me something to the effect of, don't even bother. I mean, there's no reason. I mean, he's not gonna get to any. I mean, she said something to that effect. I don't really remember what she said because it went through me so much, like like a tornado. All I remember is for 3 days I was moping around. It was probably the worst 3 days of my life because it took me 3 days to recover from that emotional injury that this psychologist inflicted on my family uh, because my son didn't check the right box. And that's always a lesson I take with me. And obviously you were able to take those punches and punch back.
I did punch back. I do still punch back. The
Good.
anger against the education system is going to take time for me to let it go. The
Right,
medical system, at least I've got much better because of the
right,
COVID.
right.
So my anger
Yeah,
towards the medical system, and I don't want to operate from the anger. But
right.
hey, look, to tell you
Yeah,
about our story, when we went to the doctor, first time when I went, I had no idea what autism was.
right,
Second time when I went to her, I had a bunch of questions,
right.
and when I asked her the question about recovery,
Yeah,
she stood up and she told me that forget about recovery, and I don't have time, I'm not the right doctor maybe to answer all of your questions, so I have a lot of other patients waiting, so you should go and see some another experienced doctor.
wow,
That's
wow,
what she told me.
wow. It's not unusual. This was what, 20 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. That's
And
yeah. It's not unusual.
the moment so first thing is what we have learned, accept the autism the way it is. Okay. The
Right,
happiness definition, our happiness, once you accept it and once you have that unconditional love,
right,
the whole happiness paradigm shifts.
right,
Okay. And second is when he was your instinct, no matter
right.
whatever I don't, even till now, I don't need any professional, even though he's from Harvard, to tell
Yeah,
me, even from Harvard to tell
yeah, yeah,
me
yeah,
that, oh, Akhil is going to do this, this, this.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't, it's just my gut instinct. And every parent has it.
Right,
Every
right,
parent has it.
right,
And every parent, you just need to, I tell you, you need to jump into that ocean. You need
right,
to deep dive into it and relish it.
right.
So now, as we were learning, we
Yeah,
wanted to give back to the society, to the community. And that's why we started Akhil Autism Foundation, to educate, treat, research, support autism. We
right,
started bringing in awareness of all these methods. and these interventions in New Jersey as well as in India. We started giving grants to the families. We started collaborating with universities for the research, and we have a social skills program. And now our Akhil is 20 years old, and he is taking community college courses.
Wow. He's in a
Being being
regular.
minimally, yes, being
Wow.
minimally verbal.
Yeah.
He got accepted into college last
Wow.
year, and he's still in school. Next year he'll be 21, and he can do his algebra, geometry, everything. We have completely digitized his education.
That's fantastic. That is good. Tell me about the event you got coming up, because I want to make sure we get that in before we run out of time.
Sure. So we have a walkathon coming on autism, supporting autism, and it's on September 26th.
Okay.
It's in New Jersey,
Right.
and you can also walk virtually anytime,
Nice.
on that day.
Right.
You can support us even virtually. So I
Nice.
would advise everybody to please come and join and support. And the money which we raise is going to go to the family grants, to supporting some local grassroots organization projects. And we are collaborating, doing funding a research with Virginia University, especially for the individuals with nonverbal to
Right.
come. So
Wow.
they're funding.
Manisha Lad, I learned so much. You're an inspiration. I'm so glad we
Mhm.
met virtually. I wish you the best with the Akhil Autism Foundation, and I know it's something that's going to move families. I'm so glad you're also doing this between the U.S. and India. A lot of bicultural, I think, people like you and I, we have a lot to do with helping our homelands, because in a lot of the parts of the world, autism is gravely misunderstood, gravely limited social services, and certainly not, they don't have access to all of the things that you and I have access to in this great country.
Correct.
So I think it's a special tribute to you and what you're doing with the foundation to help make sure the kids in India have the same have access to the resources that we have in this country. So Manisha, thank you so much for joining us. I hope we can talk soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.